what the Founding Fathers 130 years ago were planning, but if you told them that 130 years later they'd be in front of 700 people gathered here, which is an all-time record for attendance at any Madison event, I think they'd be very pleased. So thank you all for being here and helping to set that record. Tonight, we're here to celebrate our Youth of the Year, and they have distinguished themselves by rising above challenging circumstances to become shining examples of personal discipline, perseverance, and commitment to their own future. Each of these young men and women tonight went through an arduous process involving months of preparation. This was not an application. They each were selected by a panel of judges as their club's Youth of the Year, and then finally each clubhouse Youth of the Year competed for the overall Youth of the Year for the organization, who will then represent us at all kinds of functions, also in state, regional, and national competitions. Let me pause a moment to answer a question some of you may have right now, which is, what happens to the kids who weren't selected? Well, let me tell you what happened to them. They have been given the title of ambassador, where they will have leadership roles in the club, including promoting and recruiting more kids to come to our club. I'd like to recognize them now for their leadership and their effort as outstanding club members as they are here tonight. They are simply great kids. The camera is going to go over there so you can focus there or focus on the screens. Ambassadors, please stand as I call your name. Timothy Bascom, Naomi Traore, Sadhu Samuel, Joshua LeBrun, Taj Donegan, Alvin Jean, Green Wallace, Rayshawn Ross, Javante Walker, Zuri Mina, and DeAndrea Belson. Thank you. Thank you very much for that warm applause for them. So how does all this fit into Madison's mission? Recently, I came across this quote in the New York Times in an article about inner city youth. Let me read it to you. If you live in a home with no books, in a gang-ridden neighborhood with terrible schools, in all these cases, you are programmed for failure, as surely as children of professionals are programmed for success. So when kids in poverty stumble, it's not quite right to say that they failed. Often, they never had a chance. The mission of the Madison Square Boys and Girls Club is to save and enhance the lives of New York City kids who are in these very situations. Our trustees and our staff are very proud that day in, out, our members are given that crucial chance. Now, you come to one of our clubs anytime between 3 and 9, you're apt to find some different things going on. You might find an educational assistant providing a mini tutoring session on dividing fractions to a 5th grader. You might find the clubhouse director mentoring a 12-year-old girl as part of the Be Great Graduate program, which is designed to keep at-risk middle school students focused and motivated to stay in school. You might find teenagers shooting some hoops on the basketball court to warm up before a tournament. You might find kids learning to swim for the very first time or working on breaking their junior Olympic trial time. You might find budding artists creating their masterpieces, dancers preparing for an upcoming performance, or you might find teens sewing uniforms to send to female students in Africa so that those girls can go to a school that won't let them in without the uniforms. Imagine that, our kids reaching out to help those that have even less. Or you might experience something that I did yesterday. I took Keith Huber from Charles Schwab, who will be making a presentation later on to the kids. Keith's a little nervous about his speech later on, so he wanted to get a little excited. Brought him to the club for the second time. And we walked into a classroom of 12-year-old kids. Now, I don't know the last time you were around a classroom of 12-year-old kids, but if you ask any question, they all raise their hand up. You know, you say, what is the hand goes up. How many of you would like to, the hand goes up. So he walked in, just as the education director said the following. Okay, guys, let's review what we talked about yesterday, Newton's 3 laws of motion. I kid you not. I was stunned at the question. I was elated that every kid put their hand up, knowing that probably half of them are going to say, what was the question? I loved their enthusiasm, but I loved more that this was a moment of opportunity to find out who was Newton. Let's talk about those motions at whatever level that they can understand. Day in and day out, every child that walks through our doors is greeted by a warm smile, a hug, and they hear their names spoken with kindness and respect. They are given the chance to succeed that the New York Times spoke about, and that's not often afforded elsewhere in their daily lives. From the initial moment they enter our club, our members understand that they are safe, they are accepted, and they are cared about. It is from that initial moment that our education academies take root and become that initial chance. It's from that moment that our Healthy Lifestyles program of nutrition and recreation take root and become that chance. And it's from that initial moment that our leadership and character initiatives take root and become that chance. On behalf of our 5,000 members and families and our dedicated Board of Trustees, I thank you for being here tonight as we celebrate the chances that your generosity has made possible. Thank you very much.